I'm sweating already. I was just telling him before we came on that voice actors are my movie stars. I don't care if Tom Cruise walks in, but if Rob Paulson walks in or you walk in, I'm starstruck. I'm going to start sweating. Should I go over there? Should I say something? Should I not say something? It'd be like that. So I'm very excited.
He's not just saying this either. Like the wall in our studio is filled with it's rappers, Star Trek actors, and then voice actors.
That's right.
Like those are the three people on the wall.
Yeah, and so we'll have you on the wall too here soon, Jeff. I promise. It's a pleasure meeting you. Now, tell me if this is right or wrong. I heard that you were the first person to take over for Mel Blanc after he passed away. Is that correct?
It's true, Doc. I'm a rabbit, all right. And I was the first one, Doc.
That's so incredible. Now,
yes.
Did you work with Mel previously?
I hadn't worked with Mel Blanc previously, Michael, but I met him in 1980 when I was in getting my undergraduate degree at University of Pittsburgh. He was doing a lecture performance there, and I just happened to. It was a light stalking, basically. And I followed him back to his hotel room, and he couldn't have been nicer. And so I was only 20 years old, but that's where it started for me. That whole time I spent with him, about 45 minutes.
That's incredible. Amazing. Yeah, I'm jealous that you got to meet him, and then of course now taking over all these legendary characters. How did you get started into voice acting? Were you just a big fan of cartoons? Like, how did that all start?
I was not that much of a. I mean, I wasn't any more of a cartoon fan than any other kid. I thought I was going to maybe be a comedian, or I was going to be, maybe I'd be a voice actor. But like there was no real blueprint for that in the early 80s when I started. So I did a lot of radio and a lot of, promotional ads where I would do celebrity voices. And so that kind of got me started. But when I met Mel, I thought, wait a second, maybe I could do cartoons. It seemed like that would be a path maybe. So that's kind of where it really started. I went to New York first and struggled because there was no animation in New York City. And then eventually, moved out to California. But again, I've only been here 16 years. So I feel like my animation career is kind of just getting started, even though I started like almost 40 years ago.
Yeah. So getting into like celebrity impressions, was that part of the comedic, the stand-up comedy routine? Were you just trying to put those in there and Frank Caliendo style type thing?
Yes, exactly. I was more like, a Frank Caliendo or Jay Farrow or Rich Little. That's what I thought I was going to go in that direction, but I never thought of animation. It didn't occur to me until after meeting Mel. And then I just kind of got sort of sucked into that world, I think.
But how do you know that you can do celebrity impressions and they're good? Like, what got you started doing that?
That's a great question. It's almost like if you have a great range, if you have if you have a deep voice, that kind of helps. Like I'm a what's known as a baritone with high notes.
Okay.
So whereas like James Earl Jones, straight baritone. So I can do a lot of highs and I have a lot of a low, and so I have a wide range, but you have to have the ear,
right?
And then once you get one voice, like for example, like people say, like Alan Alda, like as a child, I was very liberal as a child. But if you realize that Alan Alda's voice sounds a lot like Howard Stern,
yeah.
Okay, seriously, that there's a real similarity there. And you start to kind of pick up on the fact that, hey, a lot of voices fall in your sweet spot.
Yeah.
If you find that, you can do a lot of voices.
And did you notice this as a kid? Like, I can mimic, Woody the Woodpecker or whatever.
I think I was terrible as a kid because my voice didn't mature until I was really in my 30s.
Yeah. So there's hope for me.
There's hope for everybody. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Now, when you take on a character like Fred Flintstone, that's a legendary character. Yeah. Do you try to keep it close to the original, or do you kind of add your own spin on it over the years? Because you've done Fred for quite a few years now.
Yeah, well, it's Fred Flintstone is, oh boy. Yeah, I try to get as close as I can, just like my pal Boney Rubble.
you can't help but infusing your own because you're a different vessel,
Right.
than whoever did it originally, But again, if I don't do it, the fans will come after. They'll hunt me down,
Yeah.
and just say, that's not what I remember. That's not my childhood. So you're messing with people's childhood. So you want to try to get close.
When you're in the booth recording these lines, are you sitting there thinking like, oh boy, especially if it's a new character that you just inherited, are you like, oh boy, I hope I don't mess this up? Are you thinking about that, or do you just work on the script?
It's both. I mean, I'd have to be honest with you. It's both. It's like, no, I don't want to mess this up because, now with social media now, people can, they see a project, they hear something right away and they go, oh, that really sucked. People will call you out immediately on it.
Yeah.
So.
Is there one legendary character that you enjoy performing more than others? Is there one that you're like, oh boy, I can't wait to do, George Jetson or something like that?
George Jetson. Ha, 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 Mr. Spacely. Oh, boy, I'm going to get the big raise. I know what I know. Jetson, I want to see you in my office right away. Don't move, Jetson. I want to remember you just as you are. Fired!
I mean, I grew up with, that's my DNA.
Yeah.
It's Flintstones, Jetsons, Looney Tunes. I say Foghorn Leghorn. Now, I say, I like that girl, but she reminds me of the highway between Dallas and Fort Worth. No curve. Those are like, it's like in my blood, those Mel Blanc voices. Yeah.
So you enjoy doing them as much as we enjoy hearing them, essentially.
I love them. There's a day go by that I don't practice.
Yeah.
Really.
And do you watch the originals and try to practice? Is that how you practice? What's your routine like?
Absolutely. It's just watching a Foghorn Leghorn cartoons, a mashup today. Absolutely. I watch them. I think I watch them every day. I do, whether it's Bugs or Daffy. It never gets old for me. Never. It's the best homework assignment in the world.
You've taken on a lot of legendary characters, a lot of great actors. Are you kind of like eyeing the next legendary role? Is there a role that you're like, hey, when this guy kicks the bucket, it's me. I'm taking over.
Well, Michael, you never really know. For example, I do the voice of Odin, which was originally done by Sir Anthony Hopkins in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They were obviously going to get him for the show What If on Disney Plus, but he wouldn't even respond. He just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I immediately had to just prepare for that, So, sometimes you don't have any time. Stuff just happens. Somebody dies, they don't want to do it, or there's other extenuating circumstances, and you kind of got to be ready. That one was a surprise.
And how do you prepare for that? You just start watching old videos of him, or how do you audition for the role? Do they come to you because they know Jeff can do it?
Well, in that case, it was a big audition, and so I watched a lot of Anthony Hopkins interviews, and of course, I watch him in that role, and so I suppose I was learning the voice, and you know what? I should have locked you away when I had the chance. Very passionate indeed. And then the same thing happened with another English voice. I do a lot of the voices I'm licensed by the J.K. Rowling's estate to do the Harry Potter characters. And so Dumbledore.
I had to do Michael Gambon, who was the voice of Dumbledore. Harry, listen, Harry, there will always be help at Hogwarts for those that ask for it.
And that took a long time to really
hone in
to that character.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Took a while.
I told you off mic that I was a huge fan of Jellystone, which if people don't know, it's a cartoon on Max with all the Hanna-Barbera characters that all live in Jellystone, and it's a great series. Yeah. And you do a lot of characters on there. Are you excited because you get a show like this because you get to introduce these characters to a younger audience?
Oh my gosh, totally. Because originally, Huck and Yogi and Wally Gator, that I grew up with that. In fact, even before the Looney Tunes, because that was it was a sweeter show, and I got the jokes, I got the gags with Hanna-Barbera shows more than I did maybe the Looney Tunes, and so. But those shows back in the 60s, they were paced a lot slower.
Right.
So this show, and we have, there's Yogi Bear.
and Jinx the cat, who I do, and those Mises, and Wally Gator, the swingingest alligator in Jellystone. And I mean, these are the characters like I grew up with watching as a kid.
Yeah.
And so to do them in this show, it's crazy. And then we had, I think it was in season 2 or 3 of Jellystone, where I got to do Fred Flintstone and an episode with George Jetson. So that was really cool to bring all the HB characters in there.
You know, we talked about a lot of legendary characters you do, but what about a brand new character? Someone gives you a script. Here's a drawing. Here's what this thing looks like. It's a tennis ball. What's your process of going through what that character should sound like? How do you breathe life into that?
Well, if you get lucky, sometimes you see a drawing.
Yeah.
So if it's a big, heavy set, if it's a boss and it's a big, heavy set,
God, you give him a big voice like that. All right. So you think that's the way it's gonna be? All right.
and so a drawing, really helps you. But a lot of times you don't even get that. You don't get a pencil test, or you don't see a model sheet. So that's, you got to just kind of create that, and you just never, you never know if what you're going to do is going to go, years ago, I created a groundhog character for the Pennsylvania lottery, and they just liked it. It was just, so yeah. And we all the voice actors, you mentioned, you mentioned Rob Paulson.
Oh yeah, Rob.
Rob is so talented, and I've gotten to work with him. And we'll use like a combination of other actors' voices and put them together, and then it'll make a new voice.
Yeah.
So we have a Rolodex in our head.
Now let's talk about AI, because AI is a big topic of discussion with a lot of people. Are you worried about not just in voice acting, but acting in general, how this is going to affect careers in the future?
I'm more worried about my sons, because, I have a son that's an attorney. I'm worried about everybody, because it's like, he's a lawyer. They won't have to write briefs anymore. They'll have, AI do it. And with ChatGPT, I mean, it's like we've created technology, and now we're in competition with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary. So I don't think it's so much about it. I'm not going to obsess about it. The one great thing we all have is a brand, and the more you emphasize who you are and your personality, I think that's the most important thing. I don't think you can obsess about that kind of thing.
No, I agree. And by the way, you're on TikTok. If you don't follow him on TikTok. Your videos are great. I'm a follower. I watch all the ones that pop up on my For You page. He's always doing impressions or cool things. So I thank you for doing that and sharing a little piece of all that with us. I really enjoy it.
Thank you, Michael. This has been so much fun.
So you get to meet Jeff. In fact, we're going to have to meet him. He'll be here in a couple of weeks in Dallas, June 7th through 9th at the Dallas Fan Expo. Do you like doing these conventions? Have you ever had a crazy fan interaction where it was just, I don't know about this?
Oh my God. This is only my second one I've ever done. I've never really done them before. The first one I did was just back in April in Pittsburgh, which is where I got my start, where I met Mel Blanc. So it just was very nice that happened to be the first, fan Comic-Con that I attended. So I love them. And in fact, one person came up to me and was very emotional. And I didn't expect that, because I did a voice that was so important to him in his childhood, which is the voice of the Boomerang Network. And it's all coming back to you on Boomerang. That's right. Stay tuned with more of the Jetsons.
Wow.
And it was so emotional for him. And we don't always realize it. We're very similar to a lot of the radio, disc jockeys like yourself, that you don't get that immediate feedback.
It's years.
If you still have your job. Yeah. If you still have your job on Monday, you don't get the pink slip.
Right.
Then you're doing okay. But we hear from fans, and that's that interaction, it's really special.
Did you do the announcer voice for the Batman, the animated movies with Adam West, Burt Ward? They came back and they did.
Yes.
You were the announcer. Fantastic job, by the way.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Will the Joker and the Riddler
incredible.
Yeah.
I remember that was the one that's the thing that stood out with me. I mean, I'm glad that they did this when Adam was still alive, and they had Shatner was in it and did some stuff. But the announcer voice, I'm like, who did that?
That was thank you, Michael. That was one of my maybe all-time favorite jobs to do because I mean, Adam West that was my idol.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Same here. I got him behind me over here. I got a big Adam West cutout right here.
Oh my God.
Now, one last question about voice acting, and then we'll plug your socials. What's one piece of advice that you got that you wish you knew earlier in your career?
Okay. Let's see. Ask for what you want, take what you get, and use what you get to get what you want.
I like that.
That's something I really wish I knew a long time ago. And then the other thing is just, keep doing what you love. And the more you share that with people, the more successful you'll be.
I love that. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Where can we follow you on social?
Oh my gosh. Jeff Bergman Official, Instagram, and TikTok, same thing. So, and I do answer people and do get back to people for sure. And I really appreciate all the nice things and even some of the spicy things I don't mind either.
And we look forward. We'll see you in Dallas. We got to get your autograph. We got to stick it on the wall up here and on our wall of fame over here. Do you need any restaurant suggestions while you're in town?
Yes.
What kind of food are you into?
Oh my gosh. Love sushi, love Italian. You name it.
All right. I don't know why I asked this question because I get nervous.
Take him to a Red Lobster.
Yeah.
One of the few left.
I always say Chili's or something like that. There's some great sushi.
I just went to Chili's. I just went to Chili's with my son in Nashville.
Oh, I love Chili's.
Great.
It's the best. Mi Casina's great. It's not far from the convention center that you'll be at.
Oh, wow.
What else is around there? You live there.
Homeless people.
Well, homeless people, of course. Yeah.
You get some.
What sushi places around the convention center?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Well, he didn't go out.
First of all, I don't eat.
I don't even know
sushi.
why we asked this question. Jeff. I'll be
I was
honest with you.
silent the whole time.
Yeah.
I was just being silent the whole time.
I was like, well, Clark lives in the area. He may know something, but apparently
I don't
he's
go
like
by the
Subway.
Convention center.
He said Subway.
There's nothing there.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll find something. Good luck with that, I guess.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, I don't know. No, there's great places around the convention center, but we look forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks. Jeff, thank you so much. It's an honor meeting you, and thank you for keeping these characters alive for all of us.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Clark. And I hope to see you guys. And I guess the best way to sign off is
That's all, folks.
Excellent.